Hello, travelers. Tara here, Hiddenlotus Tarot, and I'm coming to you today with an open reading. I have been ill. I'm still not feeling very well. I haven't done a whole lot of, didn't do any readings for the full moon, so my apologies for that. This is, I did a couple of readings over the weekend, personal readings, but haven't really done anything with the cards. As I explained to you before, I like to every day sit down and put down a spread that helps to keep my instinct sharp. It always reveals to me some new type of interplay within the cards, and I just like to sometimes see situations that are going on, and see, there may be messages for me, because even as readers, we also need messages and guidance from the cards. Anyway, I'm still not feeling very well. One second. So I got up this morning and um, I have to take a Ricola here. My God. Um, I got up this morning and was playing around, have the different decks here. And what I have is the Radiant White deck, the Sibilas, the Angel Answers, and the Neapolitans, should we need. But I put down the spread, and as you guys know, I like to put the cards down in front of you where you can see me do it. That way, for those people who are like, well, she could have just put those cards together. I don't do that. So I opened the cards and didn't even ask to be shown anything, or didn't ask, my standard question is show me something. And what I got was this, it's a rather sad story, I feel. The 9 cards are the Hermit, the Two of Cups, the Ace of Swords. That's an odd line right to start, right? Two of Coins, King of Swords, our focus. He sits in the middle and touches every card in the spread. 10 of Wands. The bottom row is Justice, 9 of Swords, 2 of Swords, with the overall energy, the Queen of Pentacles. Now, this is going to be a general reading, and the messages will not apply to everyone. Although I do have these 2 court cards here, an air sign male and an earth sign female. As I describe the situation, if this is not about an earth sign male, a air sign male and a earth sign female, then what it does is it speaks to the qualities of the 2 people that this spread is about, and it is about 2 people. Now, the King of Swords is, and as you can see, and this is a theme that I've been seeing now over the past few weeks, there are lots of swords here. So this is revolving around perceptions, beliefs, communication, and messages. And these could be also messages from the spiritual realm. So, take what you can and disregard what you cannot. The King of Swords is someone who's extremely logical and rational. They do not allow emotions to factor into a lot of things that they are doing or dealing with. They can be detached, seem to be emotionally uncaring or cold, stiff and rigid. This type of person can be a police officer, a soldier, a dentist, could be a writer, someone who's extremely strategic in what they do. But it also sometimes just the energy of the King of Swords, to me, can be someone who blocks out their emotions, okay? And they view everything through the lens of, does it make sense for me to do this? The first line I thought was quite interesting because I have the Hermit, the Two of Cups. Well, first, before I get started with that, I have two major arcana cards, and they both sit in the past vertical column, with Justice in a pivotal position here, leading us into the future, okay, by this row. I also have three twos. Now, this is going to be completely opposite interpretations. Three twos on the one hand speak to a wedding, okay, but three twos on the other hand speak to excessive flirting and cheating and lying within a relationship, okay? Now, that being said, this top row, the Hermit, the Two of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. Now, because this king sits so prominently in the center, we're going to say that this is the male in this situation or relationship dilemma, whether same-sex or heterosexual, whomever is going to take the role of the male in the relationship. I will say that this person is mentally strong, okay, in one respect, but I don't think so in another respect, and I'll explain that as I go along. This top row of the Hermit, the Two of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. Even though the Hermit speaks to isolation, contemplation, meditation, self-privation, withdrawing from a situation in order to get closer to the truth of it, going within and seeking the answers that you need. When I see it sometimes show up with the Two of Cups, it can represent a deeper understanding between two people, okay? They really are spiritually at a level where they really understand each other, okay? And that alone can cause a little bit of confusion. This also means that there has been this Hermit with the Two of Cups can also indicate that it has been a very long time between relationships for this King of Swords, or between having a lover a very, very long time. This is someone who's been on their own for quite some time. That may have been great for them. But now a relationship has come along. Okay? A relationship has come along. And it is the right relationship. Okay? And yes, it does require that you go within to seek the truth about this. But because there is such a deep connection between the two individuals, someone has to really take some time out and think about that. Now, I have the Two of Coins, the King of Swords, and the Ten of Wands. In one respect, this is someone who may be having financial or work issues, and they're trying to struggle through. They're using all of their mental capabilities to figure this problem out, or because this king sits in between, he's trying to maintain a balance. He's just trying to focus in on what he's doing. This person could be under a lot of stress, have a lot of obligations, and definitely is driven to succeed. Ten of Wands. But now Justice comes in here. And Justice says there needs to be a balance. But the person has fears and nightmares, worries and anxieties. And it's almost what the cards are saying. It's almost as though this issue with the relationship and the financial issues have coincided, okay, at the same time, as if one precipitated the other. But if this is the case, what this means is that the person is out of balance between their work and their play, or their work and their home life, okay? So justice has come in. Well, now, what I find to be most interesting is that here in the center, this King of Swords is really upset by this relationship, okay? Now, the Nine of Swords speaks to the subconscious. This is either someone who feels guilty about something they did or they said, or someone who has extreme fear. It speaks to, again, a fear of intimacy, a fear of getting close to their emotions or feeling what it is that they feel. Why? Because it makes no sense to them. It makes no sense to them. And they are really struggling with that. This can also indicate that there's a separation, okay, between the two people. This could be a literal separation or a metaphorical separation. It could be both. They could be literally separated and also separated, okay? It could even be like something like a long distance relationship. Now, this person is trying to, they are of two minds about what to do, okay? That's what the Two of Swords says. This is somebody who doesn't trust their intuition and perhaps does not have all of the facts that they need in order to make a decision. So they are in this space, okay? And maybe they're just slogging along doing their work, whatever they're doing, because it is both a way for them to cope, but also a way for them to deflect away from what it is that's really going on deep down inside. There is a lot of uncertainty in this spread, and perhaps that could be the issue, that it is the fear of the unknown that surrounds this Two of Cups. It sits in a very, very prominent position. As you can see, I have Two of Cups, Justice, and the Two of Swords here. And then I have, as I said, with the distance, the Hermit, the Ace of Swords, and the Nine of Swords. So the reason why, as I'm looking at the story in the cards, I think this is a relationship that has completely thrown someone off balance in more ways than one. There has been a long time between relationships, someone who has been on their own. And I do feel in one respect that it could be related to someone who has come out of a divorce, okay? And that perhaps there was a lot of infidelity or cheating or deceit in the relationship itself. If this was not a marriage, then it can speak to a relationship that was like a marriage. And that subtly, what I'm getting is that the person is ready to have someone new come into their life, but the sins of the past are coming back to haunt, okay? Yes, this would be a struggle, okay? Because what I see is this person who is trying to get to the safety and comfort of the house there, okay? But he doesn't know how. There's so many other things blocking his purview, his view, that he and all he can do is just put one foot in front of the other, I guess, in an attempt to just kind of say, that's all I know how to do, and so that's what I'm going to stick with. But what's interesting to me is I have these three cards here of people being, their vision being blocked, okay? Their vision is blocked. And in this sense, it's like they're blocking it themselves while they're conscious. But at night, when they go to sleep, these things come to the surface. And they don't understand what's happening, okay? And they don't trust the messages that they're receiving. Now, I think this surrounds this earth sign female, this Queen of Pentacles. And again, if it is not an earth sign female, then this is someone who the energy between the two makes this person feel like home to them, because she represents the home. She represents abundance. She represents groundedness. She represents serenity. She knows what her focus is. She knows what she wants. She knows how she's going to accomplish those things. She is not pushy. She is not in the positive. She is not pushy. She is not materially focused, in the sense that it would be someone who is operating from a place of greed. She knows how to balance things out. She brings a balance. Okay. Now, normally we say that we know with these swords here that there is a huge imbalance here. Here are the scales. Okay. Someone who's blocking off their emotions, someone who either can't see or refuses to see really what's going on. Not per se as it relates directly to this queen energy, but for themselves. Someone who's struggling, I think, with trust issues, and also someone who is spiritually out of balance. This is what these two cards tell me, because this card can represent the spiritual union or the spiritual marriage. Okay. This is coming about because justice says it's time. So in other words, if there is discordant energies or wild energies or things not seeming to go your way, it is designed to get you to look at those areas in which you are lacking. You see, when everything falls into balance, then life is good. Now, we know realistically that things are not always in balance, but it's striving to maintain the balance. And if you have been alone or are alone, that can be quite difficult to do, because you have to wear many, many hats. And ultimately, this really doesn't leave you time to do anything for yourself. This card could be indicative of having a lot of other obligations to other people. This is trying to keep all of your balls in the air, to just keep them up where you don't drop anything. And going, God, I don't know, even know how I'm going to continue to do that. So it speaks to this person is really, I think, giving great thought, great weight to what is happening in their life. If not, then they should be. But again, they don't trust the messages. And they don't trust them because they're not comfortable for them. It doesn't make any sense. And as you can see here, the Ace of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Justice. And to me, this speaks to the clarity of thought. If it hasn't come, will be coming, and it will be justified. So if there's any suffering or anything, this is suffering that has to come about. And I know that can sound kind of ugly in terms of the words that I said, but what I mean by that is that sometimes you have to experience pain, a deep pain, a separation from not just another person or a situation, but it's like a separation from yourself. And you have to experience that in order to take a good hard look at what is going on in your life. And many people fear that. And if, they try to block it out, but it still comes up, you can't run away from it. Okay, why? Because you're being asked and you're being tasked to move to the next level. And in order to move to the next level, you're going to have to, suffer the pain. That's no pain, no gain. Nobody likes pain. Nobody wants to feel bad. Nobody likes pain. Okay, but pain is there for a reason. And if the pain becomes deep enough, long enough, severe enough, well, what do? You get your butt up and you go figure out what the hell's going on. Okay, it's no different. Spiritual pain and emotional pain is really no different from physical pain. You can be having aches and pains in your body. You have this one that just keeps flaring up. You don't even know why. You know, you may take a few leaves, put an ice pack or a heating pack on it, or stay off of it for a little while, but it continues to recur. Once it becomes bad enough, that's your signal. You get up and you go to the doctor and you see what's wrong. So this is the universe throwing a curve at someone. I think that someone has someone who has an idea or a mental vision of where they want to go. They're always in control of what they do, how it's to be done, and what the end goal is. But now something is coming to throw everything off balance because they're this, and I think a reading or two back, and I was saying, really this is about the balance, something to do with the home life, okay? And everything's out of balance. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the Sibilas, and what I want to look at first is this, you see, and still, I mean, we could say that, yeah, the person is still of two minds, but see, the truth is there already. They just don't see it. Now, whether or not they don't see it because they cannot see it, or they don't see it because they choose to ignore it, that's the question. But they can't run from it. Justice is saying, look, you're going to have to fix this. You need to take a look at this. You need to. And so if I got to create nightmares and shit for you, then to get you to make a move or to do a little bit of change, then that's what I'm going to have to do. Justice is not always, the end result is not always what one likes or hopes for, but it is always fair. So this is also through choices. Okay, so if someone is finding themselves in this situation, they have chosen to stay alone for a long time. Okay, but the underlying thing is the reason why they've been staying alone for such a long time is maybe they've been treated crappy in the past and they have lost faith and hope in finding someone that they can love and trust again. Okay, so the universe says, well, here's something. Here's something. Now, can you pass the test? He's a scholar. Okay, this is an exam. This is a self-examination. Can you pass the test? You have everything that you need to pass this test, to figure this puzzle out. Okay, but are you going to take the challenge? All right, because that's what it is. It's a challenge. And to me, this also speaks to eclipse energies. This represents Virgo, the Hermit, the month of September. And to me, the lamp is not only a way for the hermit to see in the dark, but it is also the illumination of helping others to find their way through the dark. This person can come out and tell you, hey, this is what this is what I did. This is what I found out about myself. And this is how I did it. And the hermit knows that everybody has a different learning style. Some people are kinetic, some people are visual, some people are auditory. So everybody has a different style of learning. But the key is to be open to learning new lessons. Because anytime that you are not open to learning something new, then you truly have stopped growing. You truly have. And that stunts your progress moving along, both in the spiritual world and along the physical plane. You cannot have one without the other. Really, you cannot. You think you can, or you may not even give it any thought, but they are highly interconnected. So I think this person knows this is the right relationship. I think that some truths have been spoken, some truths that may have been ugly, maybe words said. but there is something solid and inherent in this particular spread. And I have the 2 9s here, and the 2 9s speak to some extreme isolation. But this is, you see how the swords are going in the other direction and the hermit is facing. This is someone who's running away from their fears. They're running away from the lesson. They're running away from what they feel on the inside, deep down. They don't want to take a look at that. Okay. There's something about, I also feel that perhaps this person may be suffering from depression surrounding this issue. And maybe they don't even know why they're depressed. Maybe they haven't made the connection yet. In a conscious sense, but it's coming up for them. They're just not sure about it. So let's take a look at this 9 of Swords. You know, I kind of get the sense that this person has said to someone, this Queen energy, you know, get lost. You know, but I don't feel that, even though they may have said it in an ugly manner, I don't feel that they have meant to maliciously hurt someone. I think it stems from fear and not wanting to face up to the truth of the circumstances. So let's take a look at this 9 of Swords. And to me, this last row says that with Justice and this 2 of Swords, with the 9 of Swords in the center, that justice will be not delayed, but will be, oh, what's the word? A bit merciful as this person works through this. That's what I'm picking up. A bit merciful. You know, but ultimately what's going to happen is that eventually justice will step in and say, okay, that's enough of that now. Okay. So let's take a look again, as I say, at this 9 of Swords. You know, you can't keep sitting on the fence. Okay. But do remember that whatever choice that you make, justice will say that that is final. I don't think at the moment this situation has finality to it. It has the appearance of finality to it, but there's still some weighing up. There's still some work going on behind the scenes here. This is definitely Libra energies, relationship issues. And again, it's all eclipse energies too. You know, had justice come here, and I would have said, okay, that shit's final. It's just too much work. It's final. It's done. But it didn't. It falls here. That's why I say this is a very, very pivotal place for justice. I believe that this person thinks that they've done the right thing. They think they've done the right thing. But I think they are beginning to question whether or not it really was the right thing. And so if this resonates with anyone, take your time making your decision. I do feel that with the energy of this Queen, because I see communication, but not communication, if that makes any sense, with all of these swords. Okay, and this could even be someone trying to decide whether or not they should communicate with someone. They're struggling with that. They don't see Perhaps there is something said or something done that they feel that they can't come back from. But I would say with the energy of this queen that indeed you can. But I would also caution that this queen, the energy of this queen is someone who's very grounded in their energy and who feels secure um, in where they are. And I don't know if that means physically where they are, it is coins, but I think the person feels centered and rooted, grounded. They are grounded. And in other words, they have a practical view of things. This is a rational view. This is a practical view. And sometimes rational and practical don't meet. So people can have lots of rational ideas that really aren't practical, and some people who have practical ideas can't bring it in, explain it from a rational standpoint. So I think that either way, this queen or this energy of the queen would be open to, okay, um, listening. You see, she's focused on the end goal. So you see how she's focused on that coin? She's focused on the end goal, and knows that nothing that brings about uh, abundance and wealth on any level does not come without hard work. Okay? We can live all up in our heads all we want, and that's great and that's fine. But if you're not willing to get down, roll your sleeves up, and get dirty and roll around in it, that's not going to get you anywhere. So, however, like I said, I do feel that this queen would be open um, to at least listening. I don't know if, that's something that the two people will have to work out. So let's see. What does this Nine of Swords represent? Because sometimes you got to put the bullshit aside for practical reasons and just, okay. Yes, yes. Look. This is the fear that someone is feeling surrounding this Lamante female lover, same-sex, heterosexual, whomever takes the role of the female, and the bambino, okay? And the bambino. Now, when I started earlier, I was telling you that the 3 twos could speak to a wedding. Okay, this could be fear of a new beginning with this Lamante female, but it can also speak to cheating, lying, and flirting excessive in a relationship. So on the other hand, it could be the fear that maybe this person has a baby with someone else, okay, that they do have a baby or that there's a baby coming. This is a fear. This could be even that the person fears that the child that's there or that's coming may not be their own. This is quite an interesting spread. So those are the 2 interpretations I'm going to give you. One is that the person in one situation, if this is a person who's not been in a relationship for a long time, they have fear of a new relationship. And what's interesting to me is he's running away from justice. He's running away from it. Like, hell no, I'm not going to, but you can't run from justice. One way or the other, it's going to get you. That's your karma. And that could be why, if the person is struggling financially or in their work life, in their career life, it could, like I said, it's like one precipitated the other. It is because you're being asked to change. You're being asked to go to another level. This could be in a literal sense of going to another level with someone, or it can simply be going to another level in a spiritual sense. This is being activated, and it comes through relationships. This is all Libra energy. It is all about the relationship. The 3 twos, the 2 of cups. This is all about a relationship, and gaining some clarity. And that's what this card is all about. This is the clarity, the acceptance. You know, even though it may not be, you didn't envision it that way. Maybe the person doesn't look the way you thought, or maybe they don't, um, um, maybe you don't communicate in the same way. But this Hermit with the 2 of Cups and the Ace of Swords says that you really do have a deeper understanding. And so what it requires is cooperation. What it requires is and this is someone weighing up whether or not it's really worth it to them. But I think this Queen and the energy of this Queen, because she's offering abundance. She's proffering a gift. Now, you don't have to accept the gift. You're grown. You can do whatever the hell you want, right? But then if that's the case, if you don't want the gift, then why the confusion? Why the imbalances? Why are you, not sure? So let's take a look at the Justice card. No, I want to look at this 2 of Coins. The Hermit, the 2 of Coins, and the Justice. Well, that's an odd combination. Emotional imbalance, financial imbalance, or simply trying to keep things in balance. But the Hermit is saying, take a deep look at that. And that if you are separated or you have withdrawn because you need to work on your balance, then that's true. But by the same token, and see, this is the past, this is the present, and this is the future. Past, present, and future. So these 2 lines intersecting, for some of you, this has already come to pass, okay? For others of you, this will be coming up or maybe playing out right now. The cards work on many multiple dimensions at the same time. Actually, let me look at this Justice, because it sits in a most important place. This is our exit card. So this tells me that eventually this energy will be clearing out. It has to. This becomes a 10 of Wands. Eventually, this will, energy of the stalemate. That's exactly what it is, of the stalemate. This is not only an internal stalemate, but it is a stalemate between, I think, 2 people, someone feeling as though they have no options. And that's not true. See, Justice has said, your hope, and if this is you wanting to enter into a relationship, it's been a long time for you, well, your hope is justified. The esperanza, your hope is justified, okay? It is a positive event. I brought you something that's positive, okay? And yes, the truth is this is something that you have hoped for. And yes, it is something being presented to you that is a very fortunate event. But, okay, you're going to have a bit of grief in order to appreciate what this is. Justice says, I'm going to have to come in and karmically show you really what it is, because it is through the suffering that you're going to be able to move yourself through this. I know that sounds crappy, but The universe will just throw you curves sometimes. It doesn't like vacuums. You know, it doesn't like vacuums. So I guess let's just go ahead and look at this Two of Swords here. Because really those three cards, which is the future row, the energy leading out of the spread. You hallucinating. My dog, she's sleeping and growling. The stanza, remember I said this is either a metaphorical separation and or a literal separation, but the stanza is about solitude, privacy, and intimacy. There's a question: do I want to stay alone? Do I like I like my privacy. I like that solitude. Here's that hermit, but damn it, I don't have no intimacy in my life. And this is just not about sex. Intimacy is not always about sex. Messages coming in. Now, this could be this energy clearing up and someone reaching out. Remember, and I kept saying, I kept picking up on that maybe the person is unsure about reaching out. But this could also be, this is like emails, letters, we could even say in this text messages, something of that sort. But there's a stalemate there, okay? But this is definitely, if it's not actual physical, like emails, text messages, actual letters in the mail, then this is really spiritual messages coming in, but coming in a way that it's sort of like a hard copy. Yes, I need help. Yes, I need help. This is not only a single man, but I think it represents, even though I think in the sense that this is someone who's been along for a long time, a single man. In the sense that there may be cheating and flirting, this could be the odd man out, if that makes any sense. But this is also the card of faith. This is also the card of the counselor. This is also, so in a sense, it can also read like, the help is there. Take it. Now, what I'm going to do, for those of you that this spread did not answer your question, then I'm going to pull an angel answer card. Want to see something funny? We had Two of Coins, Two of Cups, Two of Swords, and the Two of Wands. Let's take a look at 4 twos, just to be curious. Oh my gosh. 4 twos in one interpretation speak to a lifelong commitment. That priest there could portend that there's going to be, like I said, perhaps a wedding or some type of some type of long-term romantic commitment based upon two people who have a really deep understanding of each other, even if there are a lot of differences in one regard. Maybe it's just simply in the way that they think and that they communicate with each other. But the whole spread had the energy of calm and peaceness of calm and peace surrounding it. There was not a lot of ugly energy around it. That's what and I kept feeling that while as I was reading it, it wasn't something that made me anxious or made me nervous. it was something that was really quite peaceful. The energy was quite peaceful as I was reading it. Sometimes the energy is really ugly and aggressive, and that sometimes will come across when I'm speaking, but that's because I'm absorbing the energy of the reading. So it's not that I'm yelling at y'all or being mad at y'all. It is the feeling surrounding the situation, sometimes frustration, exasperation. This one was really a very, very peaceful energy coming off the reading. Now, I'm about sick of this damn thing. Hold on. Let me go to the other interpretation. 4 twos. Four twos appearing in a spread tells of looking for love in all the wrong places. So, and there was a theme, another theme, like it's somebody that may be having an affair, um, or maybe involved in some kind of group, um, where maybe there's sex going on amongst everybody. And not saying that if that's your thing, that's wrong. But as it pertains to that energy of the King of Swords, I think that that person is, I think perhaps realizing that that doesn't work for them any longer. And that's really what it is. The eclipse is designed to bring about endings to old situations, and that can literally mean old friends disappear, old lovers, your old way of life is disappearing. Things and people and situations and challenges and issues from the past are being eclipsed out because you're about to take another step, a quantum leap forward, both in your spiritual life. And if you trust the process, if you trust the messages that you receive, nobody's saying don't question them. You should question them. But then again, trust that if there's any signs, any synchronicities, you keep hearing the person's name, or if you think about them and you happen to look up at the clock, it's the same time, or if you hear a song and it makes you think about that person, trust that those are signs and synchronicities. And so the universe is trying to get your attention. Ultimately, we have free will, and you can decide what it is that you want to do. But simply know that whatever your final decision is, okay, that um, whatever comes after that was the choice that you made. So that's not to say that if you make a final decision to disengage with someone, that that is the incorrect decision, but just know that that decision will affect you going forward. It could mean that the next person you run into was way worse than the person you were running away from. But then it could also mean that the person uh, you walked away from them in the faith, knowing that something better was going to come along. Free will. So let me pull one angel card. And if you don't know what to do, then take your time making your decision. And it's okay sometimes not to know. But ultimately, you can't spend your life in uncertainty. That's no way to live. But I think in this case, these two people know that they are, because there's a feeling of home between the two people. Now, whether or not that's recognized by one of the individuals or not, I don't know. But there is definitely, and I do feel that this is a past life connection. It's almost, now that I'm thinking back to the spread, um, with the Justice and the Hermit, um, it could be that this is a teacher student relationship from the past. Um, Not guru, that would be represented by Jupiter. Um, it is, I do feel it's a repayment of the past. It's a repayment of the past for something, some type of learning experience. Um, it almost speaks to like Sagittarian energy to me, um, where the people have traveled great distances. Um, they have met through a great distance, both in this incarnation and in the previous. They have traveled many lifetimes to come back together. Um, And only this time, you know, what they're presented with is the challenge, the energy between the two people. Maybe the two people themselves um, present challenges to each other. But again, um, it's still a learning. Uh, it's still a learning thing. And again, I keep hearing the phrase: if you are not in a place where you're willing to learn something about yourself, and maybe face some cold hard truths about yourself, um, and to look at, really don't be afraid to say, this is what I want and this is what I need. um, that is a learning experience, to discover what it is that you want and what you need, to discover the difference between what you want and what you need, what those two things mean, to understand that um, either your wants are wrapped up in your ego, or your needs are wrapped up in your ego, or both. um, and to take a look at that. So whatever question that spread did not answer, here's the card. Look at there. Reconsider. Reconsider. So if this is, remember I kept saying, I think the person wants to reach out. Maybe it's like they're having a reconsideration. Reconsider. Wow. All right. That's what I have for you. I hope that message helped. And thank you so much for bearing with me. Um, I'm still, like I said, I'm still not feeling well, so I might not see you for a day or so, but know that I will continue the open readings. So until next time, namaste. Hi, travelers. I'm back because just as I closed the cards down, y'all know this happens to me every once in a while, and my apologies. But remember, on this Nine of Swords, I said it's two things: that someone is afraid of a new beginning with this female lover. But I also said that it might be the fear that there's a child by someone else. This totally changes the meaning of these three cards here. This could be a legal decision coming down in a paternity situation, and that someone is very upset about this, which, would be understandable, and that the decision has not yet come down. They don't know what the decision is or will be. They know that one is coming, and they are really struggling through this point, this time frame. Um, in which case, this gives a whole new meaning to justice. Yes, the hope of what you thought was a positive event, if this is just about a relationship, you are going to have to suffer through it. Some emotional grief, some sadness, and some depression. But also, if this is about a paternity test, then this is, what maybe you were hoping for a child with someone, and you found out that, yes, the person is pregnant. Well, now, you may have discovered that the kid may not even be yours. Okay. And over here, remember I said that, solitude, privacy, and intimacy, perhaps news coming in that, yes, I do need help. Okay. But also, if this is about a paternity situation, that, you really just don't know what to do about it. You're both angry and very passionate about the situation, but that whatever the news is that you get, ultimately it's going to help you, because it's going to free you from that energy. Now, as I was saying before, that if this is just a relationship issue, two people, one person trying to figure out what's going on with them, the way they feel about another person who's been uh, presented, that the universe has presented to them. Um, and I said, reconsider, if you've been wanting to reach out to that person, you know, re- take that into consideration. And I think this person would be open. Okay. And we went back to the single man and someone having faith. Okay. But then remember I brought up the thing of the counselor, and what that means in terms of if this is a paternity situation here, then know that this queen is there to help you. She can counsel you. She will give you her pragmatic view of the realities of the situation, not the rationalization of the situation. Um, and in a sense, and I completely missed it, I have this bunny rabbit here at the bottom of the card. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bunny rabbit right there. And the two messages that come through with the bunny rabbit is that if this is just someone, a single male trying to make a determination about this energy of this queen here, that she may appear to be grounded, um, immovable, highly focused, maybe even ambitious in some terms, but underneath, she's really this soft, cuddly little bunny who is very, very attuned. She does represent ecology, but can also represent someone who may have some psychic sensitivities. But the other message, if this is a paternity situation, then this queen knows um, that the love that you have, it's like the queen understands the love that you have for this little kid, okay, um, and would understand the conflict that you may be going through. Again, it suggests that you can speak to this queen and she will provide you wise counsel. Sometimes that is what some of the queens, if you need counsel, then you want to find someone who has the qualities of this particular queen. She's going to be forthright. She's going to be honest. She's going to give you really the down and dirty of perhaps what it all means, or perhaps how you should go about it if you're confused. And interestingly enough, when I pull these cards, remember I showed there's a Two of Wands. Well, look what's underneath. The Judgment. So if this is you as a male waiting for paternity, if this is you as a female waiting to find out if the other, I don't see another chick here. That's the whole thing. I don't see another female here. So I do feel that this is a male who has been finds himself in the position that maybe his we do have three people in that card there. See. Um, finds himself in a position where maybe the paternity of the child has now been called into question. You will be getting news soon, okay? And please keep in mind that justice says that even though you may not think that the decision is fair or right, okay, it is just. So in other words, don't blame the kid because the kid really had nothing to do with it. But it's also a challenge. How are you going to work through this particular issue? I would say with faith and with the good counsel of someone. So, okay, that's it, and namaste.